that belief, that frame is a powerful frame for you, right? Like whenever I have clarity, I know exactly what to do.
Yes.
So let's create more of those. Anytime I have clarity, I always find the right people. Anytime I have multiple business opportunities, within a day or two, I always know the right one.
Yeah.
Because you can create those frames that you operate in. Hi, I'm Jason Drees. Welcome to the Do the Impossible podcast. Don't forget to join me every Monday at 10 a.m. Central for a 20-minute mindset alignment call. Go to mondaymindsetreset.com, mondaymindsetreset.com. Today, I've got a great coaching session for you. This is with an amazing friend and client. His name is John. He's a successful business owner and entrepreneur faced with the opportunity of which direction to move forward with in the new year. Take a look at this coaching session. I hope you find it valuable. Hey, John, how are you doing? Great to connect today.
Happy New Year. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a while since we met in person. Was that Steamboat?
That was when your book launch happened and I got your signature on this bad baby right here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Or was that Miami? Was that Miami?
Was that Miami?
Well, I think, didn't we meet in Steamboat? I think we met in Steamboat, right?
It's not dated, so no one will ever really know.
Awesome. So what do you want coaching on today, John?
So I'm a 31-year-old white male who lives in Jacksonville, Florida. I've got two young kids, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and I've got multiple businesses. And I'm wondering, Jason, it's a really interesting question. I have a lot of different options in front of me of what I can do with my life and with my time. Mm-hmm. How do you figure out, as an entrepreneur who wants growth, what the best thing is for you to spend your time on?
That's a good question. So how many options do you have?
A lot of options. So I have a real estate company. That's a real estate brokerage specifically. I've got a mortgage company. I have a title company. I have a real estate team. I've bought residential flips. I've done residential flips. I've bought into commercial real estate deals. I have investments that I can manage. Those are kind of the things that I'm looking at. And they're all exciting, right? Mm-hmm. All of those topics are really cool. And then, I'm growing a young family. My wife's pregnant again with our third due in June and due in May. Okay. And everything's growing and it's phenomenal. And I also feel like last year I had kind of spread myself out a little bit too much into too many projects. So the ones that I probably should have just simplified down into a couple few. And I probably need to simplify even more down into some of the few things that I should be focusing on a daily basis versus spreading myself out. And I'm having trouble deciding. Deciding
between what?
Deciding which business to push the pedal on. Or is it because, I just thought of this, is it because I'm missing a who in each business that will push the pedal for me?
Good question, right? So is the question of which to push based on which direction you think is the best, or is it kind of based on like how much bandwidth you have, or is it based on something else?
Probably bandwidth, because my time can get pretty limited with my schedule. And there's probably some things that I do that are, much more valuable than the other things that I do.
Sure. Well, you got 5 companies, which is, yeah, I get it. So if you had unlimited bandwidth, would you do them all?
No. Yeah, I wouldn't actually.
Okay.
It's a good question. So why am I doing them anyway? Yeah, there might be some that I need to cut now that I think about it. And I should just cut it down to probably 1 or 2 of the ones that really drive everything else. See, because what I did was I had this big monster of a business that fed all these other businesses. So I created side businesses off of those. Mm-hmm. But the main thing is still the main thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I focus on all these side businesses, the main thing, it doesn't go backwards, but it kind of stays the same. Okay. And it's like, what if I actually just got rid of the side things and just kept focusing on the main thing?
Is the main the brokerage?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the brokerage drives everything else.
Okay. So what percentage of your time right now that you're working goes to the brokerage?
Probably 2 hours a day.
Okay. And what percentage of your, like, how many hours a day goes to the other businesses?
Probably another 2 hours a day.
Okay. If you just did the brokerage for 4 hours a day, what would that do?
Yeah, I mean, it would double the company.
And how long?
Yeah. Probably 2 years. It would double.
Okay.
And that would be far and beyond anything else that we could do in the other businesses.
Okay. That seems pretty clear.
Yeah. So just going through that, next year will definitely be a year or this year, simplifying. And I feel like every time I create a new project that's out of my core competency or trying to maximize it by creating a different business that I'm not a specialist in, things tend to kind of stall.
Great awareness. So how do you validate whether you should, like, what's a good way for you to, moving forward, to validate whether you should do opportunities or not?
It's the amount of input and how much output that creates, I think. So if I put like an hour of input, what's the output that's going to happen? And is that output a one-time thing, or is it something that continues to give back over time? If I spend 1 hour doing something and then it creates an income stream for the next 5 years, that's something that I should do. So if I spend an hour doing something and it creates a one-time revenue stream, then it's basically I'm paying for that dollar per hour versus having things stack. That's the way that I'm looking at it right now, which is good. So these questions are excellent, Jason, because I'm starting to think about this really deeply, and I haven't really vocalized any of this before.
Excellent. So let's note, right? Input. Am I a specialist in that area?
Yeah,
that's one thing you said, and then also in specialist, input, output. So we have some form of metric now, because there may be times when creating those supplementary businesses is a good idea, and there are other times like that it's just because you can, it's better not to, right?
Yes. So, I learned that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like last year for me was what not to do in business. Because in 2021, I could do anything and it just went up. And last year we were basically flat year to year, but I tried to build all this stuff and I just burned all my money up. So I just made less at the same amount. So I realized it's simplification and life balance, because our brains are conditioned to think, well, we need to build bigger, more and more. Now, the other thing that I'm also, my intuition is like picking up on is that the brokerage can grubble in a year. And that sounds like that'd be great if in 2 years if the brokerage doubled, you'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Can you, now you've got these other businesses, like, cause you have one option of like shutting them down, right? Or using them as needed or what, right? But there's also bringing more leverage into the business.
Yes.
So, because what usually happens is when I get the question is I don't know which direction to go. Right. Now, sometimes we have people who are successful and they're just like, they're taking on more work they need. Their things are good. The money's great. They need to just chill out. And other times it's like they need to make more money. And then there's like basically like, well, I got 3 opportunities. I don't know which one. When in the reality is they would like to do all of them. But they don't know how to do all of them without doing them all themselves, because doing all of them requires the next level of them to show up and lead other people to do that.
Right. Yep.
So I'm curious here, is this more of, I just need to focus where I'm good at, or I need to level up and figure out how to increase my output without increasing my hours?
I think I need to focus on just what I'm good at. So, these other organizations, like I'm a specialist in real estate sales. I'm not a specialist in mortgage or a specialist in title. Those are just sub businesses. And those are relying on how big the brokerage gets. And it also requires my leadership in those organizations where I'm not a specialist. And that has been challenging for me. How do you lead somebody to get to the next level in mortgages when you haven't done it yourself? Or how do you get somebody to get to the next level in title if you have not done it, built a title company yourself? In the real estate side, I feel like I'm a totally valid leader, right? Like I was crushing it. I've sold more homes than other people, top 1% of the 1% in the number of sales. So I can lead other people's from zero to making $1 million a year in real estate like that. I know the playbook for that. The playbook is similar, but different in the mortgage and title space. And I feel like those take time and thought thinking away from my main thing. So, and I have been unable to identify somebody who can go in there as an A player and go and take this thing to the next level. And that has been a struggle of mine, is identifying that talent who can take advantage of it. So the question is, if I'm unable to find somebody who can take it to the next level, do I just let it play out and then just keep all my focus on the real estate brokerage?
Good question. Right. Now, there's a couple things there. So there's a pattern of success that you have used in real estate in the brokerage, which gives you certainty because you know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly how to do it. Like, it's burnt into my brain.
Knows exactly how to do it.
Yes. Now, and I can get other people to do it too.
So there's the actual strategy.
Yes.
At the same time, there's a mindset of running that strategy.
Yes.
Which is the mindset of, I can create success in this specific area. That's the actual mindset. So you actually, in that area, you have the mindset of success. You also have the strategy.
Correct.
And that's how your brain tells you created success in the brokerage, because I have the mindset and I have the strategy.
Yes.
And what I'm seeing is, as you start to go to the other ones, there's less strategy. So you're letting that create less mindset.
I'm letting the people dictate the strategy in those businesses, not me dictating.
Or at a higher level, I'm referring to you actually, because in title or in mortgage, you haven't done it for years. So so there's basically, I don't know everything, so I don't have a high mindset because I don't know, right?
Yes.
So that's when that doesn't always matter.
Correct. Right.
So I wanted to get really clear here, because it sounds like, and I don't want to tell you what to do, it sounds like you're clear on what direction you should do, but I want to help you pull out of this conversation the strength of your success mindset that's independent of real estate. Because you're 31, in 20 years, you're going to figure that out, that you can, or maybe 10, you're going to figure out that I can be successful everywhere regardless, because that's who I am. It just happens to be real estate. And I want to help you tap into that now, not 10 years from now. Because the way our brains work is that when we know the strategy, we get more certainty. But you can still have certainty without knowing the strategy.
Yeah, I think I have a limiting belief that I have to be an expert at the technical side of it to be able to grow a big organization in what it is. And that's holding me back.
Awesome awareness. Yes, because that's the mindset that you operate in to get to this point. Right? So your brain, you're looking at your life and your success and your business, and you're like, how did I get here? And your brain is like, you were an expert in that business. Being an expert, I kill it there. So then when you start to look at other areas, you're like, my formula here is being an expert. My formula, am I an expert? No, I can't. Right? So it's a point of view in your mindset that you have outgrown. You're at the point right now, it's time to shift that. Now, you can just stay in the brokerage. That's perfectly fine. You can also stay in the brokerage and leverage and grow too, because your ability to attract the right people is based on how open your mindset is to finding those people too.
Yep.
Now, I'm not trying to crank you all up with activity and action when you have a baby due in 3 months. Number 3, what I'm trying to do is help you leverage the power of the success you've already created. Because it's almost like micro level real estate strategy, I'm an expert, right? Mortgage micro level, I don't know what I'm doing. Broke title, I'm over here. I'm mediocre, average, maybe a medium skill set, right? But if we go to the macro level of business and success at whole, you can make money. You also know that if you lost everything tomorrow, give yourself a couple of years, you'd have it back. Right?
Yeah, hands down. Yeah.
So that's feel the certainty in that like, and we don't even need to go through and do a scramble or a belief change, because this new perspective is breaking down that old belief. We don't even need to deal with it, right? Because you already know you don't have to be an expert now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm realizing I don't need to be the expert. I need to go find experts, and the skill set that I probably am missing, or what I need to learn how to do, is identify experts and learn how to recruit them to my vision versus where they're at right now.
Or be in the frame where they show up automatically.
What does that look like?
It looks like not being in resistance to them showing up, because we are creating our life. You're creating your success. You're creating your reality. And most times we think we have to do something to make it happen. What usually happens is we are in resistance to it occurring, because as you're like, okay, I'm going to find somebody to run this business. You're like, well, your brain's like, I've never found that person before. I don't know how to find that person. I know it's possible. I have no idea who they are. I don't have time to become a recruiter expert in mortgage title management company. So there's just like this unknown, instead of being in the mindset that says, I always find the right resources. So we're going from unknown at the micro level. Let me rephrase that. We're going from doubt at the micro level to certainty at the macro level. And the macro level is your frame, right? It's above your beliefs. It's like the frequency of you, and the frame determines what your mindset is. So the frequency of you determines what you think. And what happens unknowingly is we start working in new areas. We spend our time focusing at the macro level, and we have doubt, and we let that move us into a global macro frame of doubt. So the way to start to move into alignment with those things occurring is to that same level of certainty you've got about success, right? Get a sense of the you that knows like you could make money if it all disappeared, right? Now just take that certainty and move it over to, I always find the right resources. They show up automatically. Just for a second, like take that certainty and move it into that belief. What would that be like? Just living knowing the right resources always show up because I'm a successful guy and that's how life works for me.
Yeah, I'm going to need to work on that in like a mantra or something, because I have had challenges, and you've probably heard this from a bunch of entrepreneurs. I've had challenges in recruiting talent or finding talent or keeping talent consistent, where I'll have somebody for 6 months, they'll make a ton of money and they'll stop working. Right. It's just like typical salesperson type of thing. So I need to be in the frame where I'm always attracting and having those resources coming to me.
Yeah.
And have a bench, of A players who want to play on this team, because this is a rocket ship. This company is going like wild. So, there's no reason why we shouldn't be attracting this level of talent to the organization.
And right now, the reason you're not attracting that level yet is because the business entity that you created, that you work for, it's not you, right? It's its own thing, right? That needs a different version of you for the next level.
Yeah.
And the conversation we're having is part of that next level. So the thing that you want to be aware of is that, like, for example, you said, I need to be in the frame where I attract people automatically, right?
Yeah.
Simply saying that puts you in the frame where it's not happening.
Got it. So it's got to be an I am statement.
Yeah.
I am in the frame, not I need, because I need is from lack, right? So,
but that's how our brains work. So we start to identify the lack, the piece that's missing, and then we're like, okay, well then I need to go get it. But that puts us in a frame where it's not there.
Right.
So we basically want to start every single step in a frame of alignment. So you're like, hey, I want to do this. Oh wait, here's a hole I need to fill. Yeah, I need to do that. Okay, I got to go fill that. Wait a second. Now I'm going to realign. Yes, I absolutely am going to find them. Boom. It's going to happen. Just like hold it for like 15 seconds. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, now go. Because that pulls us back into alignment. So it's this, when you access alignment, it starts happening faster and faster and faster. There are also an infinite number of point of views and beliefs in your head, right? And this is like a real first coaching conversation. So there's also other pieces that will come up. Like, so I aligned you with this one today, but does it work every day? Is it easy, this change, right? Can change happen this fast? So those are all the supplementary frames you want to shift to. Because once you start to get into alignment with life flowing this fast, then you can just go whoosh like that. Because life is based on frequency, not action.
I am a resourceful human being and resources flow to me. So, I mean, that's how I have had that frame for real estate. Now I'm just going to have it for life. I think it's a good one. So everything that is out there, I can get it. So there's nothing that can stop me.
Let me help you. Okay. Can I help you with that?
Yeah.
So repeat after me. I take full ownership of my life and everything in it.
I take full ownership of my life and everything in it.
The fact is I'm successful.
The fact is that I am successful.
And I know how to make money in real estate.
I know how to make money in real estate.
In fact, I know how to make money.
In fact, I know how to make money.
It's not just limited to real estate.
It's not just limited to real estate.
I'm great at finding resources.
I'm great at finding resources.
I find resources all the time.
I find resources all the time.
Now, in the past, I used to not be good at finding resources.
I used to not be good at finding resources
that walk on two legs.
But
that actually wasn't true.
Because
if I was bad at finding the right people, I wouldn't have sold so many houses. So I'm actually realizing the truth right now. That I'm great at finding the right people. In fact, they always find me. Because it's who I am. And how my life works. I love it. I believe this 100%. I take ownership of anything contradictory to this. And I release it now. How's that feel?
It's good. I think this stuff works. It's good. I think it's a healthy way to switch your frame and break through the beliefs. So, and it's given me in my mind just going through right now, like 5 action steps. Cause I'm naturally somebody who takes massive action when I have clarity. Mm-hmm. And so now I feel open and I have like 5 steps in my mind of things that I can do to go find those people who can drive these businesses to the next level. And because I had this belief that I had to be an expert at everything to be able to grow it. And that's just not true.
It's not true. So notice how the frame shift into alignment with the target. Now, even the target was, we weren't even that specific with the target, right? We were non-specific. We were just talking resources. Shifting that changed your thought patterns, and there you generated 5 new strategies.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm slowing you down to point this out is because when you fully comprehend that the action comes from the frame, your life will change. Because our brains are still grew up in this old version of reality where we had to figure out the strategy to make it happen. We now have access to alignment where if you ever don't know what to do, just simply move to the frame that does and wait, and what to do will show up.
This makes sense.
And you also said, what did you say? When I have clarity, I always come up with the good actions. Is that what you said?
Well, yeah. When I have clarity on things, I mean, I'm off to the races. Like, I have coaches and things like that. And so they're like, oh, once I get this kid to clarity, just let him go for 6 months. And then I'm off to the races. And then when I get stuck at the next obstacle, then, okay, there's something that I'm missing here. And I go back to the coach and things. That's how it's basically worked in the past.
Fantastic. But that belief, that frame is a powerful frame for you, right? Like whenever I have clarity, I know exactly what to do.
Yes.
So let's create more of those. Anytime I have clarity, I always find the right people. Anytime I have multiple business opportunities, within a day or two, I always know the right one.
Yeah.
Because you can create those frames that you operate in. It's part of your frequency.
So what do you do with your frames? So these frames that you want to really adopt, do you write them down on a day-to-day basis? Do you say them out loud? Like, what does that look like?
It depends if it's if it's contradicting an old thing, it may need a repeat after me to neutralize it. If it's a new one, sometimes it's simply awareness of it. But if you want to create the new one, a lot of times it's create the frame and maybe every day for the next week, read the frame in the morning and think of an action associated with it. So it's almost like just connect to that frame multiple times until thoughts come out of it. And you can also move into a frame where you know how to put in new frames. Because that's a frame too.
Coach yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah. And obviously it's worked for you. So
it's working. Great. It's a process, up and down and right and left and all around. And yeah, like this next year is all about, like my goal next year is to get my life back. Because last year I spent the year tried all these things that didn't work. I'm like, hey, we got those out of the way. And this year I'm just like, I think I can really grow the business and make a big impact and do it in half the time.
Why do we do that? Why do we do so many things that don't work? Because I do the same stuff. I'm like, I create like 5 new programs. I launched them. Like, people are going to love it. And then it's going to be out there. And then, only one of them succeeds. I'm like, maybe I'm experimenting, but you put your heart into every single one of them. And it's just better to just like, the main thing is the main thing, maybe because it gets boring. Or
sometimes that's the process, right? If someone would have told me that 12 months ago, the answer is simplifying everything, I wouldn't have believed them. So, because basically what I ran last year is I ran all of my socially conditioned best practices of being in the corporate world for 20 years. Yeah. I ran all those and they didn't work. So that's why we have to be really cautious with social conditioning and what you think, because your best path is what you really think. And sometimes those ideas we think that we really want contradict everything else. But that's usually the best path of success.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Cool. All right, man. You good?
Hey, I got a lot out of this. So thank you for coaching me, Jason. This is good. I have energy. I feel like the frame switch is good. I've gotten it written down, so I'll probably write it down a couple more times tonight. So I think this is good. I came out with some good insights from this call. So thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. And I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much.
See ya. Thank you for watching the Do the Impossible podcast. Don't forget to go to freeintrosession.com to harness the power of coaching yourself and schedule in a Do the Impossible goal setting session with my team. Until next session, when we continue this exploration into what makes up greatness, I'm Jason Drees with the Do the Impossible podcast. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.